Arsenal have just strolled past Tottenham away from home to win 2-0 and stay 8 points ahead at the top of the league. It was another clinical performance from Arsenal, who at times looked like they were playing at the Emirates. And it was yet another disappointing performance from Conte's Tottenham, as they looked so far behind Arsenal as a team. We'll talk about how Arsenal played Tottenham out of the park, the role of Nketiah and Odegaard in Arteta's tactics, and we'll analyze why Conte's system is failing with this Tottenham team. Now, before we get into the analysis, please subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 2K subscribers, and all you have to do is hit the subscribe button to help me out. Now, let's dive straight into the game. Arsenal started in a 4-3-3 but played a 2-3-3-2 in possession, with Saka and Martinelli high and wide on the left and right hand side, and Saliba and Gabriel, the two center backs, holding right on the halfway line. We had both full backs tucking into midfield and playing on the inside spaces right next to Partey, and Nketiah was actually dropping into the midfield line, playing that Jesus role and providing that extra support to Odegaard and Xhaka. And we have to analyze the role of the middle six to understand how Arteta approached this game and why Tottenham found it so difficult to play through the midfield. If we look at Tottenham's side of the half, you can break it down into three distinct channels. You have the right channel here where Saka usually operates, the left channel here where Martinelli usually operates, and the central channels where the striker and the central midfielders play. Then you have the inside spaces on the right and left hand side that are in the white boxes here, and that's where Odegaard and White and Xhaka and Zinchenko were operating. In Arteta's system, the people that are operating in the inside half spaces have flexibility to roam around, right? So if the ball's with Martinelli, Xhaka and Zinchenko can come help on the inside space here, and automatically the rest of the team will rotate over. So if Nketiah and Partey are in the central channel, they'll move it towards the inside space so they can provide more help, and the entire team will shift that way. If the ball is on the other side with Saka, then Odegaard and White will help out over there, and obviously the rest of the team from the left side will rotate over there as well. You have a lot of flexibility moving from zone to zone in this system. With their tactical flexibility and understanding of the game, two specific players in this Arsenal team allow Arteta to play Arteta ball, and they are Martin Odegaard and Alexander Zinchenko. And we'll start with talking about Odegaard with a play developing from the left. Martinelli starts with the ball on the left wing and passes it to Xhaka, moves into this position here. Xhaka gives it back to Martinelli and underlaps him to get to the touchline, receives the ball back from Xhaka, and we pause it here. In this situation, you'd normally see Nketiah and Saka on the other side try to get into the box so they have someone to cross the ball to. And automatically that opens up a big space just in behind those two players in the central areas. And this is where Odegaard shines. He's great at long shots and shooting from the edge of the box, and he would normally come into this space here, either closer to Martinelli and Xhaka to provide that early cutback option at a more steep angle, or he would go further back into the box depending on where the defenders are to provide a more easy angle for the cutback. And this is where Odegaard shines. His reading of the game, understanding of where space is and where the other players are, both on his team and the opposition team, is absolutely world class, and this is why he's been in such good form this season. And within this same example, we can also see the brilliance of Zinchenko. Let's say Xhaka cuts the ball back to Odegaard and he doesn't have a shooting opportunity immediately. He needs to recycle the ball, and unless there's players around him, he can't really do that. And because Zinchenko is basically a central midfielder playing at left back, he can easily drop into this space, take the ball from Odegaard, and allow Odegaard to make that second or third man run into the box. He can then play it back to Martinelli or Saka and actually have an extra man inside the box itself for them to cross it into. So Zinchenko and Odegaard, these guys, two left-footed players that are the heart and soul of the Arsenal team. Of course, we have Partey, who's really important, Saka, who's really important, and Nketiah / Jesus, who are really important as well, but these guys really make Arsenal tick. So Arteta's decision to play two banks of three today allowed Arsenal to have overload centrally. Also, the four players in the inside spaces made it easier to create overloads on the flanks as well. And Tottenham only played with two central midfielders today in Højbjerg and Sarr, and they kind of had a lopsided sort of back five and front five of the team, with the front five having fullbacks on the wide areas and the three forwards being on the inside area. So they had a big hole in midfield, and we'll discuss that more in detail. But Arteta's tactics worked to a T today, and that's mainly down to the midfield having 6 players. Before we talk about Tottenham's shortcomings in this game, I want to highlight 2 specific Arsenal players and compare and contrast their contributions to this team and how they've progressed throughout the season. We start with Eddie Nketiah, who is filling in for Jesus because of his injury, and I have to say I'm very impressed. I've seen him play in this Arsenal team before, like last season and the season before that, and he just looked like maybe a little bit like a Danny Welbeck when Welbeck used to play for United. Maybe he has some parts to his game that could be good at the top level, but he doesn't have that full package. But he showed me something today and in the previous games as well that I haven't seen before. He has good link-up play. He seems to hold up the ball really well. He seems to know when to press. He has a lot in him that Jesus has in his own game. So the biggest compliment that I can pay Nketiah is that Arsenal doesn't really miss Jesus since his injury. And his stats back that up, right? 82% pass accuracy, 2 dribbles completed, 6 duels won, and also completed 1 tackle, I think, in the right back area in the second half. So you'll see a lot of those similarities with Jesus' stats if you compare any given game that Jesus has played for Arsenal. Finishing is probably the one area that he needs to improve massively, because he had 5 shots, 3 on target, 1.22 XG, but he missed 3 big chances. Like if you have 3 shots on goal, so in the 7th minute, he had a shot on goal that was 0.32 XG. 58th minute, he had a shot on goal with 0.1 XG. And in the 69th minute, he had a shot on goal with 0.48 XG. And that was the Lloris save where he shot it straight into him. With 3 shots like that, someone like a Harry Kane would have had 2 goals. Someone like Aguero would have had 3 goals maybe. So he needs to really work on his finishing. But you could say that maybe that's something that's leveled against Jesus as well. But I'm really impressed with this guy. And the second player is Martin Odegaard. When I analyzed the Brighton Arsenal game that Arsenal won 4-2, I said that Odegaard was world class, and people have been saying it for a while. But honestly, beyond doubt, he is world class. It is not even a joke anymore. What a strike from the edge of the box to score the second goal. And like I said, the positional sense, the understanding of space, his dribbling skills, his ability to maneuver the ball in tight spaces, everything is absolutely immaculate. He just seems like he has finally understood exactly what needs to be done at all times, and he just does it. He seems like he's impossible to stop. And his stats back this up too. 3 shots, 2 on target, and 1 goal. That's a level of Norwegian efficiency that you don't even see from Haaland. 57 touches in this game, 86% pass accuracy, 5 progressive passes, and 2 chances created. He's an absolute monster. Honestly, if Arsenal lose Odegaard to injury, I will be very worried for your title charge. And if you guys can keep this guy fit, wrapped in cotton wool till the end of the season, you have a very good chance to win the league, and he will have to be your player of the season. And that's saying something because Saka is in great form. Thomas Partey is an important player for you guys. Ramsdale is in great form. Zinchenko, Xhaka, lots of players. But Odegaard is the one. Mr. Captain himself. You guys are lucky to have him. Tottenham started in a 3-4-3 but played a 3-2-1-4 in possession, with both fullbacks playing on the wing on the left and right hand side. The wingers actually playing as inside forwards on the left and right inside spaces, and Kane operating in the pocket behind them, given license to play both on the left and right hand side. Now, in theory, Kane would link up play on either side based on where the ball is and get into the box himself, and maybe have 2 or 3 players from the opposite side in the box as well, including a midfielder. The problem was that Tottenham weren't playing to the strengths of their own formation, especially a Conte 3-4-3 where the fullbacks provide width on both flanks, and the idea is that you create overloads using those fullbacks so that they can overlap the inside forward and put in crosses into the box. And you would assume that the other side, as in the inside forward and the other fullback, would get into the box. So the inside forward would be in this area here, and the other fullback would be on the back post. In the game today, you actually never saw Kulusevski or Kane underlap or overlap the fullback. It was very often Doherty and Sessegnon on both sides just by themselves trying to put a cross into the box, trying to play early crosses. They didn't do enough work on the flanks near the edge of Arsenal's box to actually get past Zinchenko, Gabriel, and Xhaka, and on the other side, Odegaard, White, and Saliba. And that was the problem. They couldn't play with width. And the other problem was, because they had 3 other forwards in the front line who were occupying these central areas near the box, there was a big gaping hole in midfield right in behind them. And just Højbjerg and Sarr can't do enough to create chances centrally. So you have a problem where Tottenham can't create anything from the flanks and put crosses into the box, and they can't play through Arsenal by playing passes through the ground in the middle either. So what they were resigned to do was playing long balls from the center back. So Dyer was trying to find Son here, Kane, Kulusevski, or the fullbacks, and they kept losing the ball. Even Lloris, when he was put under pressure with the ball, he just kept playing long balls because they just couldn't play through the center of the pitch. And as we talked about, Arteta already had a plan to pack the central midfield areas with 2 banks of 3 midfielders. So Conte completely got this wrong today. Tottenham played a little better in the second half, but it was too little too late. They were already 2-0 down, and of course they had to come out and play. They needed more men in midfield earlier than the 76th minute when he made the substitutions to bring on Perisic and Hill, I believe. I think he should have just started with a back 4 with Sessegnon and Perisic as the 2 fullbacks and have Bissouma or Oliver Skipp start as the 3rd midfielder, because like I already said, when you're playing against 6 in midfield, you definitely can't have 2. 3 is better than 2. Their best player was Højbjerg by a mile. He does everything for them, and he's constantly putting out fires. He had 2 shots today, 86 touches, and 1 dribble completed, 85% pass accuracy, 10 progressive passes, and 2 chances created. So he absolutely did his best to try and get Tottenham a goal. But defensively as well, 1 tackle, 2 interceptions, 1 block, 2 clearances, and 6 duels won, I think, out of 7 attempted. So he did his best, but I think Conte's tactics just weren't right for this game. I want to end this video by reiterating a point I made in my coverage of the Brighton-Arsenal game. Arsenal will win the league this season because they don't rely on individual brilliance and they have consistent patterns of play all across the pitch. Every single player knows where to be and knows where their teammate will be before they actually get there, and they consistently make good decisions on the ball as a result. Arteta also deserves massive credit for having the entire team in the right mental space. They seem like they're taking it one game at a time, they're handling social media and external pressures really, really well, and they're scoring lots of goals with different goal scorers. And it just seems like next man up even when someone gets injured. So I'm very optimistic for Arsenal this season. Obviously, it'll be disappointing if they can't do it, but I think Arteta deserves massive praise and Odegaard deserves massive praise as a captain, who is my man of the match for today. Get in the comments with who your man of the match was. Do you think Arsenal will win the league? Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.